Well, first off, my name is Zach. I'm 17 years old. I live in Wisconsin. Okay, and as you can see in the title, this is going to be about my coming out story and a little information prior to that. So, I actually watched this video. This is like background knowledge of essentially before of what happened, and so the thing that was before that I realized, I was about like 11 or 12 and I watched it, This Is My Life, I'm Secretly Gay, and I'm like, oh, I can do that, I can date girls and then actually like boys. Like super dumb in every way. But again, a little later that year, I was with my mom and my stepdad, and they were in the car and they're like, Zach? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you gay? And I'm like, no, I'm not, I like girls. They're like, are you sure you like girls? I'm like, yeah, I like girls. I totally like girls so much. And then fast forward a few years later, I was 14. I already had my first relationship. Like I was 14, like how a relationship can that actually be? So I dated this guy and it was only like for 2 weeks total, and it was a weird thing. And after that, I literally just went to the internet and dated on the internet, because I mean, it was like a place of like, oh, I could go, I'm accepted, I can find cute boys, date, but I mean, honestly, it was just a thing I did. I look back on it and I'm like, I don't really understand why I did it. I mean, it's not like I ever really met the people, but I like video chatted 24/7, so it was pretty crazy. Off subject. Okay, so like one of the things I wanted to talk about was I started talking to this Irish guy. I was at my grandma's house because my mom used to work in the country of Bermuda for a week and a half. And so I started talking to him and I was like infatuated with this guy. He was really cool. Like I put him as my screensaver and my mom's like, hey, let me look at your phone, because I had recently gotten a new phone, even though it was a few months ago. I was like, no, let me just change my screensaver. Or not, I didn't say that, but I was thinking that. I was like, oh my god. This screensaver, my mom's gonna find out what's gonna happen, no. And so essentially she saw it and she's like, who's this? And I'm like, well, it's this guy. And she's just like, are you gay? And I'm like, I shook my head. I was like kind of petrified. I don't know why, because my mom loves gay people in every respect, but I mean, it's just really nerve-wracking. And this was, oh god, the date was, I think it was July 27th of 2013. I was 15. And then, I don't know, like it started out as like, I was like, Mom, yeah, I know. She went up to me and I was like, I wasn't planning on ever coming out, but I was like, well, at that time, but now, of course, I'm very happy that I did, and that night did happen. Oh yeah, so my mom was like, Zach, who's this? You're gay. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I am. I don't like girls at all. And she's like, oh, thank God. I would have been so disappointed. And I'm like, why would you have been disappointed? She's like, because being straight is dumb and it's kind of boring. And I'm like, I wasn't expecting this reaction from my mom. And we sat and probably talked for a good, I don't know, few hours, and this whole time we were standing, my mom was in the doorway of my bedroom and I was standing next to my bed the whole time, and I was frozen in fear for most of the time, like when I first said it. And I was like, oh my god, my mom knows now, people know. And so I don't know, it was probably so nerve-wracking. But then we talked about it and she got into this really awkward thing about this Bermudian, like one of her patients, because she was a trauma therapist in Bermuda. One of her Bermudian patients who were like she's like, oh, he used to just be a hoe, sleep around, and now he finally found this guy he's in love with, but he's had so much sex with everyone else, and yada yada yada. And he's like, you don't have, and my mom was like, you don't have sex, right? I'm like, no mom, I've like never done anything. I'm like 5. I was actually 15, but despite that fact. And so then I found out 2 days later, she told my stepdad, and I was like, oh, my stepdad was just like, we never really talked about it, but he could care absolutely less. Like, if there was a way for him to care less, he would. And then my mom wanted me to tell my stepbrothers and my older brother and my littlest brother, but in order it went, we told my oldest brother first, which was in April of 2015 when I dated this other guy for like a month, and he was like my first real relationship. He had a car, he was 16 turning 17. I was like, ooh, this is a super hot guy. And my mom wanted to know about it, and so then my brother was like, who, are you dating any girls? And I'm like, no, I'm actually dating this guy. And he's like, you're gay? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of am. And he's just like, that's awesome, but I would never guess that. You were like, always, we're so close to women. And I'm like, and he's like, oh. And I was just like, oh my God, Cody, how did you not know this? And then the next person my mom told actually was my grandma, and my grandma told my mom literally, and she's like, well, I knew this. I knew since birth, since the day he popped out of the womb, that he was gonna be gay. And I'm like, I'm like, my grandma is so cocky, and was like, and I'm like, grandma, no, no. And my mom's just like, oh God, she's so sassy. But I don't know, everything was going good, and then I broke up with that guy about a month later. And then my mom forced me, or not forced me, she was like, you have to tell them. When are you gonna tell them? They're not even gonna care. Well, actually, one was actually homophobic. It was my older stepbrother. My younger stepbrother could literally give less fucks. We even had conversations before, because we used to share a room, about how gay people are, and it's just, it was a cool thing, I guess. And I don't know, he was really open, he's a really nice person, but the older one I struggled with. But so I ended up telling Mitch and Jack, and then one day after that, I was like, oh my God, they don't care. And Mitchell was like, you know what, I don't really care, you can live your life the way you want to. And I don't really get along with Mitchell very well, so I don't know. So he was essentially, came up to me one day and he was like, Zach, and I'm like, yeah, and he's like, about the gay thing, and I'm like, yeah, what about it? And he was like, I hope you know that I wish you goodwill with your dating and all of that jazz, and I hope that you're happy and you do the thing. And I was like, I was taken back for a second, but like I haven't really heard anything nice ever from Mitchell. And so I was like, what? I was like so confused about why he was being so nice all of a sudden, but I guess it was just a confirmation with him accepting it, even though I'm not really close with him at all. And then the last one to know was my little brother, and he lives with his dad the whole time because all my siblings have different dads, and then of course my step siblings have different dads, but we all have the same mom. And so my little brother lives with his dad about an hour and a half away from where we lived at the point in time. And so it was probably, oh God, what's the date today? It's September 15th, 2015. Yeah, I believe so. And mom's like, you need to tell Taylor. I'm like, no, work, you can just tell him. Because I was like, I've been out to almost all of my family, except my dad's side, because I don't actually talk to my dad or any of my dad's family members. I'm like, they're racist towards everyone and homophobic, and it's just, yeah, so I was like, no, probably not. But getting back to the Taylor part, my mom told Taylor, which is my littlest brother who recently just turned 11, she's like, Zach's gay, and Taylor's like, was I the last one to know? And Taylor was like, he was just so disappointed that we didn't tell him earlier, because he's like, well, I don't care, but why was I the last one to know? Why did it take so long? He didn't even care. He was just like so offended that we didn't tell him earlier at all. And I just thought it was hilarious because he was like, what? Why didn't you do that? And I don't know, my coming out experience was actually probably really good. I mean, for what it was, since I lived with my mom the whole time. And she's a very accepting person, and so is my mom's whole side. We're all like liberal, open to everything, all walks of life, everything like that. We're really good with that. And so essentially, like, to take away from the whole experience, I'm pretty happy. But even being in relationships, I've like been kind of withdrawn because it's still like hard for me to like I don't know, be in a relationship and show public affection because I'm still scared, you know, in the back of your head, like what if someone says something, you know? But I mean, besides that, like at home, I feel perfectly comfortable. My best friend Mackenzie, me and her talk a lot about cute boys now, and I told her, so it's honestly so cool, and I thoroughly enjoy everything. Um, so yeah, that was really random and dragged out, but that was my coming out experience, and I wanted to share it with you because when I was looking up the courage to tell people and my friends and whatnot, I looked up the videos and I was like, oh, like these are really inspirational. Like I used to go to bed listening to these stories, and I'm infatuated with listening to stories. So I was just excited about that. I don't know. I thought that it's been almost what has it been? 2.5 years since I've been out, and everything is smooth sailing. All my friends are very supportive. My family's supportive. I've dated some people. Everyone has, but I've pretty much been pretty happy ever since, like, because before I used to be terrified of what if they find out, what if this, what if that. It's just not a very fun place to live in. And like, I knew that my family was gonna be pretty accepting, but again, you know, you have to get over that whole, like, first, oh my god, I'm gay, and the second, oh, I need to tell my family, and what are they gonna think of me, like, what is going to happen. And I was like, you know what, it's worth it. It was worth it. I look back on it now, I used to regret it. I don't regret it anymore. It's actually one of my favorite regrets, I guess, to put it. So yeah, if you have any questions or you'd like to share anything or help with anything, just comment below, and I wish you all a good, like, enjoyable time of, like, this story, and I hope you take some from this story and it helps you with your journey and whatever you're experiencing. And even if you're in a not safe environment, I hope at least it comforts you a little bit. So yeah, thanks for listening to my coming out story. I'm Zach from Wisconsin. So yeah, thanks, bye.